Hey everybody, Buck Dave here again with an extra special episode. It's kind of special in a couple ways. First of all, Buck Dale is on the road today. We're not together, so if the audio quality sounds a little bit different, that's because he's on a spaceship to Mars with Elon Musk or something.
Anyhow, old Buck Dale's was there. I want to hear this story myself. I'm glad you called. Glad you checked in.
Yeah, and the reason we're doing this is a lot of you have loyal listeners know that we've been following the plight of a Ukrainian family trying to get their daughter and their children and her two children out of Ukraine into the U.S. And as I indicated last week, the mission was a success, but I had no details to share. And then yesterday, we were able to visit the family and had just a great day with them. I was able to conduct a short interview with them. We're going to play that interview after this, but I wanted to get the audio in while it was still fresh in our minds, and I was pretty excited about plugging Dell into it right away. So just to give some background here for you who are not loyal listeners, maybe. You know, my wife and I are both half Ukrainian. We have Ukrainian friends here and there. Some good Ukrainian friends that took care of her mother for a lot of years, and they mean a lot to us. And this was about them trying to get one of their daughters out. And I indicated last week that they were successful in getting their daughter and her two children into the U.S. So for orientation here, now the parents here are Genik and Irena. And they came to the U.S. A number of years ago, and then one of their daughters, Uliana, came with her young son, Andrean. And then their other daughter, Halnya, remained in Ukraine. She was married, so she remained in the Ukraine with her husband and her two daughters, Yulia and Alina. So it's Halnya and her daughters who fled Ukraine about 6 weeks ago. And we gave you some kind of weekly updates on where that was. The daughter in the U.S., Uliana, and her boyfriend Eric, they really did all the legwork and all the brain work here to kind of make all this happen. So I'll be talking mostly to them in the interview that follows, and understand that this is a very, very condensed version of the ordeal. While we were offline, Eric told me about all the setbacks. All the frustrations, the disappointments, the fears even, when they were kind of in a no man's land in a couple places wondering what to do. And how that was all overcome in the end due to their determination, their grit, their good luck, and the kindness of others, really. So I'm going to include a link to a longer story that's in the Tampa Bay Times that has more detail on the ordeal up to the point where they got to Warsaw, and we're trying to get them beyond Poland. But the interview today deals with them being actually here, and we had just a wonderful celebration yesterday, and so here it goes. Hey everybody out there, this is Old Buck Dave of the Two Old Bucks. Old Buck Dale can't be here today. This is the special episode that we promised you. We have a really, really exciting episode today. We've talked the last 4 or 5 episodes about the Ukrainian family that's been trying to get into the U.S. And as I indicated last week, they're here. And now we're here with them for a beautiful Sunday dinner. And I'd like to first introduce Uliana, who is the sister who was very instrumental with Uliana and Eric in getting them here. So Uliana, do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hi everyone. Yes, I have here with me my sister Halina, and 2 my nieces, Alina and Yulia finally here in the United States. We're very happy
So
about
welcome
that.
to the U.S. And how old are your nieces?
Yulia is 12, Alina is 10.
Okay, welcome to the U.S. girls.
Yay.
Yeah, yeah. So can you tell us how this all started? Tell us a little bit about where they lived, where Halia lived.
Yes,
Lives.
they all started with Ukraine Lviv, and so they moved from Lviv to Poland, and then they live in Poland 1 month and a half.
Tell me how they got to Poland.
Took them 3 days on a car and standing in a line. Usually it's 45 minutes drive, but because of so many people and of course want to escape, so takes longer. So 3 days on the road, and then
Tell us a little bit how you and Eric met them to the border. Maybe Eric can tell us a little bit about that. Eric, I know you were very instrumental in pulling all the strings and making all this happen. Tell us how you met them, how you got to the border and made all this happen.
Well, it was just a matter of arranging the travel arrangements. When we flew into Poland, we flew to Szczecin, which is the nearest major airport to the Polish-Ukrainian border. We were blessed enough to meet a Bolt or Uber driver over there. It's called Bolt. And he was willing to take us all the way to the border, wait for hours for them to be transported right from the border to a shopping mall that was a couple miles away, and that's where everybody was being warehoused. We met them at the shopping mall, and then he brought us back to our hotel in Szczecin. Then it was just a matter of taking a train to Warsaw.
That's amazing, really. As you indicated in our discussion earlier, Uber drivers, taxi drivers had a lot to do with this whole thing, and turned out to be kind of good Samaritans and really took care of you along the way, unexpectedly.
Well, yeah, it was kind of unexpected. When we arrived in Szczecin, we found out that they had canceled our hotel, so we didn't have a place to stay. The only place we could find was a hostel. Now, I was thinking this was the type of place that students traveling in Europe stay. It was not. When we got there, we got this Uber driver, Bolt driver, as it's called, Ernest. And Ernest explained to us that that was a hostel for Middle Eastern workers and had no doors on the rooms, and that it probably wouldn't be a good idea to take a 10 and 12-year-old girl and their mother there. The guy was fantastic. He was a godsend. He actually spent 45 minutes finding us a hotel, agreed to take us all the way to the border for a fraction of what it was worth, just wanted to help out. Waited there at the border with us for hours, leaving his car running because it was sub-freezing temperatures. And the gentleman even risked his driver's license to take that many people back from the border.
That's great. It just shows how many good people are out there. So, Uliana, getting back to you.
Yes, I'm here.
So what was the first thing you said to your sister, Halia, when you saw her?
I was so happy to see her, and I just praying to God she was safe and with me.
And what did she say to you?
She couldn't even talk from be exhausted and tired and have sleep. For many days she didn't have enough sleep, so she was, of course, like I said, sedated.
Sedated, yeah.
From tiredness.
Yeah. So, and how did her daughters feel about the whole experience?
Well, I think they was happy to see me, but
it has to be tough, bittersweet because they have to leave Dad behind.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. They have probably 15 minutes to say goodbye to Dad because the line was very, very quickly going and people was shoveling them in the car. We have one volunteer, that's what Sister says, who can take them across the border, and they didn't have enough time. That was, like my sister says, I never see my husband crying so much. she said it was hard to watch. Yeah, the whole family was crying. Yeah.
That'd be tough. That'd be tough. Yeah. Do you think your sister would like to say something to us in Ukrainian? It's a beautiful language. People need to hear the language.
Ну, ми раді, що ми приїхали сюди. Дякуємо Ерікові і всі, що допомагали.
I don't understand it, but
She's grateful to be in the United States, and big thank you to Eric who helped them and
yes,
be
absolutely.
the angel all the way.
He's definitely the angel in this thing. That's great. Yeah. So thanks. So after you got to Poland, then you went to Warsaw. Is that correct?
Yeah, we took the train to the city Krakow.
Yes.
And then from Krakow to Warsaw. Yes.
Okay. And then how long did they stay in Warsaw? So you were over there and came back. Is that correct?
Yes. We've been there for good 1 week, 2 weeks, I guess. There. Yeah. We tried to go to embassy and we was hoping they can help us, give us visa, and so we can buy the ticket and all together flying to United States, but didn't happen. We was all kind of like surprised of situation, how it's how to say the word. Everyone was like, they didn't know what to do with
Very
so many
chaotic.
people. Yeah,
Very
chaos.
chaotic,
So
yes.
it was chaos on the street. The Polish people, of course, we see a lot, helping people, Ukrainian a lot. I'm shocked. They opened the doors and helping people with shelters, with food. It was no problem. So Ukrainian very grateful.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Poles are great people too. I've spent
Yeah.
some time there. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So the next step, now, how did they get to the U.S.? What were the steps that needed to be taken for them to get to the U.S.?
Well, the steps was waiting for visas interview, and the visa interview will not give you 100%. They will give her visas. So they make decision, we all make decision, fly to Mexico and cross the border to United States.
Okay, so then the question is, how do you get to Mexico? How did they get to Mexico?
So they flew from Warsaw to Turkey, from Turkey to New Mexico, Mexico City. And from Mexico City, they flew to city Tijuana.
Okay.
Cross the border, closest border to with United States, no?
Yeah, Eric, do you want to? When we talked earlier, you had again, there were a lot of hurdles that had to be jumped here. So, can you want to tell us a little bit more about that, and in and out of Turkey and in and out of Mexico?
Well, the first hurdle was getting them to Mexico because they couldn't have a layover in North America, in the United States or Canada. The only two options were for them to stop over in Colombia or to stop over in Istanbul. We decided to go to Istanbul because they had a chance of finding somebody that spoke Russian or Ukrainian so they could at least communicate a little bit, where Colombia, the odds were pretty slim. In the meantime, I flew from Tampa to Miami, almost missed the flight to Mexico City, got to Mexico City about 12 hours before they did so that I could meet them there. After a little bit of visa problems, the immigration ripped up my visa and said that we had to fill out another form. I was really scared they would do the same thing to them. But fortunately, they got a guard that accepted their visa that they did online. So they didn't have those problems. Then we found out a half an hour before our flight was supposed to take off that we had been bumped from our later flight to an earlier flight. And we're told that we wouldn't be able to get another flight for 3 days. And I'm fortunately, with a lot of praying and speaking to everybody I possibly could, it appears that they were able to put us right back on the flight we had originally booked, probably by bumping the people that they had bumped us to put on there. When we got to Tijuana, found out that what we thought was going to be a one-day affair is a 4-day wait. But we were blessed enough to run into somebody who had quit his job in Tijuana to help Ukrainian refugees. And this gentleman told us that he could find a friend that would take us to Mexicali, which is a 4.5-hour drive from Tijuana, and we could cross same day at that border. And that's the route we took. We went to Mexicali, waited 6 hours, and were lucky enough to get to talk to a Customs and Border Patrol agent. They, after a few little hiccups, granted them humanitarian parole, and then we just had to get a ride back to San Diego, which was another cab driver that seemed to have blessed us. Tell you what, those Uber and cab drivers really were godsends. And then flew from San Diego back to Tampa. I left out a few hiccups here and there along the way, but it all worked out really well.
Thanks, Eric. That's really an incredible story, and so we had a lot of minor angels along the way that kind of helped things along. So
Most of them drove cabs.
most of them drove cabs or Ubers. Yeah, that's great. So where do we go from here, Uliana? So where are we? Are the kids trying to get in school now, or what are the next steps in the U.S. for the family?
Yes, we not really know what the next step is. We don't know.
Okay.
So we're trying to find a school. We actually find one school, but we just need to do our paperwork for them, and then seems like next year when they can start school. So they're missing a lot months of school.
So what is their official status now in the U.S.?
They were granted humanitarian parole. That allows them to stay here for a year, attend school, and work. But after a year, then I guess things either have to be reevaluated or not really sure what steps to take. They have applied to immigrate here. That was 6 years ago. But officially, their turn doesn't come up for another 9 years. We're hoping because of the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine right now that maybe there's a way around that and they can immigrate sooner. But we've got to search and find out what the next step is.
So you've got a year, and over the next year, hopefully things will spin out favorably.
Yes, we hope so.
Yeah,
We don't know.
we don't know. We all don't know. It's just it's a crazy time over there, and we certainly wishing the Ukrainian people all the best in this very, very tough time.
Yes.
So we're happy to welcome 3 of them to the U.S.
Yes, we're very happy. Thank you.
And thanks to you and Eric for
Thank you, Eric.
for your heroic efforts to get them here. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, that was it. What do you think, man?
What a story. I also had a chance to peruse that article in the paper you were talking about, Dave. Hey, I gotta say that I mean you can hear a story like this, but you really truly cannot imagine what it's like to try to go through the red tape and deal with the bureaucracies and especially under a wartime condition like that. I mean, it just breaks my heart. Breaks my heart.
Yeah.
That they even have to do this.
Yeah.
That there's how many people trying to do this? This is only one, let's say, small, tiny success story.
Right.
Many going in different directions.
Going in different directions, yeah. I mean, the U.S. has authorization to do 100,000. They've done something far less than 10,000 at this point. And as Eric indicated when we were in our discussions offline, he said the ones that are able to get in here are, number one, the ones that have family here and a place to stay in the U.S. and the family has the means to get them here. All right, so I mean
so eliminate those two, and you're not coming.
You're not coming. You're not going to get here. Yeah, and look, this was a working class family here. You know, they spent a lot of money they didn't have to get their daughter here. So you know, they did what they had to do.
Someone should start a GoFundMe page for them or something like that.
Well, at the bottom, there actually is a GoFundMe page. At the bottom of that Tampa Bay Times article, it shows the GoFundMe page, and they actually one of Eric's friends helped him set that up. And if you go on the page, it's actually met its goal, but their expenses have been actually far in excess. of that number because, for example, to take a flight from Turkey to Mexico, they make you buy a round trip. Okay, that you're obviously not going to use the second half, and you're buying tickets at the last minute, and you're paying this fee and that fee, and paying this guy $300 to take you up the road, and it was.
Everybody's taking advantage of these people in this dire situation.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, some people were taking advantage of them, but as Eric indicated, the real angels here were like the taxi drivers and the Uber drivers. That he said, man, you get in a taxi or an Uber or whatever, you don't know whether they're going to take you where you want to go or they're going to take you up in the hills and shoot you. But he said these guys to a person were just phenomenal. Just went out of their way to help because they wanted to help.
This is like in Poland or something, or
this was everywhere. This was in Poland. This was in Mexico. This was getting from one border entry point to another. This is trying to get on a plane in Mexico City to fly to one of the border towns, Tijuana, and all the grief and aggravation that they were suffering. And
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I honestly cannot imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, I have trouble getting through my local airport
Oh man,
without a lot of aggravation. Imagine.
Yeah.
So, anybody listening to the Old Bucks? I mean, we certainly care. I think this is evident that I'm appalled that this is even happening in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But we certainly care about the well-being of those folks, and this is a case where it really hits close to home.
It does. These are how many millions of cases like that are there going on simultaneously around the world? Millions. So just a little more background. The family got what is called humanitarian parole status, which it's not a green card. It gets them into the U.S. for 1 year, and after 1 year, who knows? I mean, I don't know. Is there going to be a Ukraine in a year? We certainly hope so, but it's hard to say. But this is a 1 year status that they have here.
Think about that. Doesn't that seem ominous? If you said 1 year you'll have this, you'll be able to go ahead and work and do this and do that and eat, and you'll have a place to stay, and after that, it stops.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, and as a couple of old bucks, we know how a year goes by.
Yeah, faster and faster.
Faster and faster. Before you can even think about it, you're facing a giant wall again. I mean, where would they go? How would they sort this out? There's got to be some kind of a mechanism.
Yeah, I'm sure mechanisms will be put in place over the next year. But
let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm going to give a shout out to several of my neighbors here. When they learned of the situation, gave us gift cards or cash to give to the family, and so that was a big help. They were really appreciative. So thanks to my neighbors. You folks are the best, and
they know who they are.
They know who they are. Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of you, Dave.
I didn't do anything. So anyway.
So what's next? You're just going to they're going to try to get they settle into school. They're allowed to go to school, I assume.
That's a problem. There are only a couple weeks left in the school year, and kind of the big school district there said, I don't know, we don't know what to do, and they found kind of a small private school that's willing to take them, but again, it's only going to be for a couple weeks before. I think it's 3 or 4 weeks before school's out, and then they're on their own for the summer. So I basically they have between now and the fall to figure out what they're going to do with respect to school.
Mm-hmm.
Now the girls don't speak English; they speak a few words. The older girl is able to write in English. She can write, some simple sentences in English. But, she doesn't have any opportunity to speak English, didn't have any opportunity to speak English in Ukraine, obviously.
Mm.
So, that's something else that has to get sorted out amongst a lot of other things. And, Eric's got to get back to the garage and fix some cars. And Oleana's she's a dental hygienist. And, as like Eric, she's taken a lot of time off work to make all this happen. So really, hats off to them. They're the two heroes in this story.
But you'll be able to maintain some kind of contact.
Yes.
We can
yes.
pick up on this thread sometime in the future, maybe every now and then.
Yes. Oh yeah. We're going to see them. There's an event April 25th in Gulfport, a kind of a fundraising event, I believe, for them. I really just got bits and pieces of it because there were a lot of people talking at once. But as I learn more about that, I'll mention that here.
Because I think some of the loyal Old Buck listeners will probably be, anxious to see how this plays out. This is a real time, activity, so to speak.
And we'll be getting together with them from time to time and staying plugged in with them.
Oh, that's
regardless of where we are. So that's that. That's one little tiny bright spot from Ukraine, in an otherwise really devastating situation.
Anything else going on with you now that I got you on the line?
I think I am used up for the day, buddy. I am used up. And I appreciate you taking time out of your crazy travels to jump in and listen to this.
Anytime you tell me to check in, I'm always glad to do this. So, all righty.
All right, man. All right, so I think this is time to say it's time for the Bucks to say goodbye.
Okay. Old Buck Dell saying thank you. Thank you for listening.
All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.